You have to look at suffering as almost like I look at failure. To succeed, you must fail. In failure and in suffering, all the answers are in there. All the answers to all the test questions. The test is your life. All the answers are in there. You don't have to live in suffering and pain and failure all the time. You have to learn, I need to visit it. Like people hate working out. You're only going to visit working out maybe an hour a day. 23 other hours of the day, you're not in it. But how you become in shape is you must visit suffering, visit working out 1 hour a day. Visit suffering 1 hour a day. Visit your past failures 1 hour a day. The relationship with it is the answers are in there. They are in there. Within the suffering, go in there, and I call it the live autopsy. The live autopsy. How you find out someone died? They crack you open after you're dead. How you can live is do it while you're alive. Go back in your brain, crack it open while you're alive. Don't wait until you're fucking dead to figure out why you died. Do it while you are living. Go in there, go into the suffering, go into the pain of your life and say, why did this suck for me so bad? Why am I afraid of all this stuff? Why have I shut down the whole world? I guarantee I'll tell you why you shut down the whole world. It's in these nooks of the suffering within your brain, in the scarring, are all the answers to why you are on the couch feeling sorry for yourself. They lie within the scars. Visit them for at least an hour a day. Study them. And then you'll find out more about yourself. You will then grow. So don't look at it as every day I suffer. Go into it an hour a day. Learn from yourself. Learn from life. Learn from your failures. Learn from your insecurities. Learn from your self-doubt. Don't just say, I'm afraid to jump off an airplane. What makes you afraid of it? Study it. That's why I studied my mind. Why I became so powerful in the mind is because I realized I was weak. So instead of running away from the mind, I dove into it and said, what is making me weak? Oh, this makes sense. I came from hell. I came from a place that beat me down to nothing, which is why I'm afraid. All this makes sense. So systematically, one by one, I went back and met every single person in my mind, every situation. I went one-on-one with them again in my mind and said, okay, let's now revisit this. And that's how you do it. That's how it works. Your mind chooses the path of least resistance. Your mind has the ultimate tactical advantage over you. It knows what scars you. It knows your fears. It knows your insecurities. And it protects you. Which is why I talked about the 40% rule in my book. The 40% rule is all about the brain has the tactical advantage over you. It knows and it keeps you away from all that. That's why it says don't jump out of an airplane. Don't go in the ocean where there's sharks. It's a protective mechanism. Don't go back to the place where your dad beat the shit out of you in your mind. Don't go back. The brain protects you, but protects you so much, it doesn't allow growth. So the brain is an amazing thing, but the brain controls you. You must control it. You must take power over your own mind, or your mind will guide you into all the soft places that your brain wants to live in. Your brain has enough information. It doesn't want to go through that process of mind hardening. It doesn't want to do that. I got to remember what time I got to be here, what time I got to be there. This is where I want to stay. I'm peaceful. It wants to stay very peaceful and away from scarring. You have to be able to break all these big, humongous, painful things in life down to the smallest molecule, because that's all the brain can handle. The brain can't handle hours and hours and hours of suffering, but it can handle right now. I'm in the Pacific Ocean and it's very cold, and this is what I'm doing. Don't think about the rest of it. So that's what I learned from Hell Week. That's what I learned from being in 3 Hell Weeks. That's what I learned from all the military. I went to Ranger School. I went to all these different schools to learn all of that, to learn how the mind processes. So I talk about theorists. I talk about practitioners. A theorist is a person who reads a book, doesn't do it, reads a book, learns about something, and then talks about it. A practitioner is myself. A practitioner is a person like me. I wanted to be an expert in the mind, a mental toughness guy, beyond mental toughness. The only way to do that, in my eyes, is to put yourself in hell. Put it in hell repeatedly. Repeatedly put yourself in hell and study how you process it. And that's how I was able to come up with all these different ways, all these different tools to slow the mind down in hell. Because the mind just speeds up. The mind wants to get out of the painful situation, the suffering. It can't process it. So that's what I realized by going through all these different processes of being in hell weeks. There's some times where the mind gets overwhelmed and you cannot slow it down. But by these certain tools I developed, by not allowing your mind to get away from the moment. You have to think about the exact moment that you're in. But I saw when I was younger, the moment became too big. When it became too big, I spazzed out and I would quit. But now I don't think about even like an hour from now, I'll be eating. I don't even go there. Because then your mind, no, we must embrace this, because now you have to be a leader in this moment. It's not about you just getting through it. I had 5 guys, and 6 including me, in my boat crew. Now I was the boat crew leader. So now another trick is this. If you don't think about yourself, there's no pain. Which can also lead to pain later on in your life. But in these moments when you're struggling, if you are a true leader and you're worried about your men or women beside you, your mind doesn't care how cold you are anymore. Your mind's only worried about taking care of the men and women beside you. So I started realizing, man, if I take care of these cats to my left and my right in the worst moments, my mind is no longer thinking about, you're miserable, David Goggins. Get the hell out of here. You're thinking about, how was John? How was Andy? How was Sam? How was Pete? How are you guys doing? You're not thinking about me. So there's so many things you can do to get outside your own head to then allow your body to just be like, hey, we're just a machine. But you have to let your mind be able to process all these different tactics to do that. Take a different vantage point in life. When you are in the hell, you can't see the beauty of being in it when you're in it. Get on top of that mountaintop in your mind. Get on top of that mountaintop and look down on what you're doing. You can see a whole different world, and that world is beautiful. But you got to get a different vantage point in the suck. Don't be in it. Spiritually, get out of it. Get that soul. Look down on what you're doing. Be amazed by the process of where you're at now and where you came from. We all have a voice in our head. Some of us are very spiritual, some of us are not, but we all have this voice saying, you're doing fucked up shit. This is wrong. Don't do that. The more you don't listen to that voice, the further that voice gets away from your head. Some people call it the Holy Spirit, some people call it God, some monks, whatever you call it. It's there. We all have it. It's the right or wrong voice. But the more we don't listen to it, the more that voice goes away. And the only voice you hear is yourself. When the only voice you hear is yourself, you're wrong. There's a voice that guides you through life. When sometimes it's guiding you in a direction that you don't want to go, that's usually the right place to go. It's that uncomfortable place. So that voice is always talking to me, but we don't listen to it. I listen to it. And when I start getting anxious, nervous, like we all know when we've done too much because it's telling us, I'm getting tired, I'm wearing down. But we go. I start talking to my fiance, hey, I'm doing too much. You start now, like I did in Hell Week, like I do all the time, the 1 second decision. It's that decision when your mind starts to get so amped up. Whenever you can't hear yourself think, you gotta slow down. Whenever you're living off a schedule, every day's a schedule, you have no time for yourself. When you start, and we all know it, I don't have time for this anymore, I don't have time for that anymore. That's when your mind and your body are saying, think about that. I'm neglecting my fiance, I'm neglecting my disciplines of life, I'm neglecting my reading, my learning, my workouts, my diet. When you start neglecting all of that, you neglect one of them, you can neglect all of them a long time. It's going to haunt you. When you start seeing that, my God, I haven't eaten right in a long time, haven't been sleeping right in a long time, it can only be one of those things to take you off. So I'm very aware of my eating, my sleeping, my disciplines of life. And when I start to get too far away from them, it's a hard stop. Because what made me are the not just disciplines, the self-disciplines of life. And those are always in front of you. If you have any, they're always in front of you. So that's my hard stop. I'm the only person in the history of the military who has ever gone through Air Force Tactical Air Control Party training, Army Ranger School where I was an Army man, in 3 hell weeks. Yeah. So only person to ever do that. But the reason why I did it was when I was a young kid, I considered myself very weak. Very weak. And as I started developing this indestructible mental toolbox, because what I realized was the things I was most afraid of, I cowered from. I had to start facing these things and becoming an expert at the things I feared the most. Yeah. I was afraid of my own mind. My mind would get off on these crazy places of woe is me. My internal conversation wasn't great. Yeah. So I had to start mastering it. Once I started mastering it, in the horrible place I was at, I consider myself the worst person ever alive. That was my conversation. But once I started mastering my own life, I started realizing, my God, man, this was in me? Yeah. I was a 300-pound fat guy. Now I'm 181 pounds, 190 pounds, whatever it was. I'm gonna go through all these hell weeks. So I started realizing the capabilities of the human soul and the human mind. Yeah. So I started to examine it more and more. So we have a theorist and we have a practitioner. The theorist is a person that's gonna sit back and read books from a library that someone else wrote. They become real smart about what someone else wrote, okay? A practitioner is me. I put myself in hell, lived in it for a long time, and figured out how the human mind works while suffering, while in pain, while in misery. And that's how I wrote my book. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you exactly what your mind is thinking. Most of us don't stay in hell long enough to write the book. Yeah. I stayed in long enough to write it and finish the book. So I call it in my book here, it's called The Accountability Mirror, but it's called raw accountability. Yeah. Not just accountability where we find that nice happy word. If you're fat, and you look in the mirror and you say, wow, I eat a little too much. No, you're fucking fat. Cannot say that to yourself. No. But see, you have to make a list of the things that you don't like to do. This list should be very long. Like if you don't like making calls. Yeah. Yep. The very first thing you should do is start making a shit ton of fucking calls. Yep. Because why? That begins to own you. Yes. You start to drive yourself this way versus this way. But you'll figure out, if you start making a whole bunch of fucking calls, if you like calling, call a lot. Yeah. Guess what happens? You get over it. You get over it. So what we do a lot is, I heard a lot of people say, triple down on this, triple down on most of your strength. Yeah. No. That works for a lot of things, but when you're afraid and you don't have the courage, you have to triple down on your weaknesses and make that become where you start to guide yourself. Okay, I don't like calling. Today I'm making 100 calls. Yeah. I'm gonna dial 100 times. When I was younger, life and society made this big world with all these endless fucking possibilities. Yep. Endless possibilities. My life made my possibilities this fucking big. Yep. Because it made me afraid of all these different things. Yeah. So all this stuff trapped my mind, it shackled my brain, it made me a prisoner within my own self, saying, this is all I can do. Because why? I'm afraid of this, I'm insecure over here, I got self-doubt over here, back behind me, good Lord, who knows what's behind me? I'm not gonna look behind me. So your life is this big. Versus it being like, I can do all this shit out here if I start to break down these these different walls and barriers. And that's what I started realizing. I could become a Navy SEAL. I could become this, but I was afraid of the water. Think about this. I know. Why the fuck are you gonna go be a Navy SEAL when all you do is play in the water? Yeah. And we don't play, we're in it and we're living in it. You're tying knots, you're swimming for miles. That's right, the ocean is unforgiving. Yep. Yeah. So my mind is, I'm gonna go be a Navy SEAL. Yeah. If I didn't face that fear, no one would ever know me. I was number 3 behind Michelle Obama for a long time until my book sold out. Yeah. And I was a guy just 21 years ago who was 300 pounds, could barely read and write, and now I have a book just 2 spots behind Michelle Obama. Yeah. Just because I was afraid. Yeah. But you overcome those fears, guess what happens? The whole world, you unlock this door and everything opens back up again. So this is what I say to myself. It changes all the time. So let's say I'm training for a 100-mile race and I get to mile 50.
Yeah.
And I feel like shit. And like everybody else, my mind gets soft. Why? Because I'm human.
Yeah.
I'm not some damn, hybrid creature that was formed from the heavens above. No, not. Human. I suffer, I don't like it, I'm uncomfortable, I don't like it.
Yeah.
So my mind starts to get weak and we start to forget about how badass we are. I call that the cookie jar, but it's not about the cookie jar right now.
Yeah.
This is about self-talk.
Yeah.
But the cookie jar kind of goes to self-talk too.
Yeah.
It's a piece of it. So basically what I do here is you have to make sure that your mind doesn't become spastic. When it's suffering, when it's in pain, all it wants to do is find the easy way out, which is usually quit. If you quit, the pain goes away immediately.
Yeah. You
gotta give yourself enough energy and fuel in your mind to stay just a little bit longer so you can talk yourself into staying for the whole thing.
Yeah.
And this is how it works. Most of us never start anything cold. If you're gonna go to college, you gotta study your ass off. If you wanna run a 100-mile race, a marathon, if you wanna go be Mr. Olympia, if you wanna go be a scientist, a doctor.
Be one of the best salespeople on the planet.
You
be
gotta
an entrepreneur.
work.
You gotta work.
But this
and
is what
you gotta
we do.
build.
You gotta build
up to that.
But what happens is, in that moment where we need self-talk, when we're failing and we're in our worst spot possible, we forget the front end, all the build up to where we're at today. We forget that we put years, maybe not into making these dials, but to getting where you're at today.
To become this person.
To become this person, to be in a position to make this money or whatever the fuck you want to make, whatever you want to do in your life.
Yeah.
We forget that. We forget that journey on what it took for us to get in this moment to make the right decision.
Yeah.
So that's my self-talk is this. Okay, I want to get the fuck out of here, man. I'm done. Then I remember this. You ran 2,000 miles training to be in this moment right now. We forget that.
Yep.
We forget the 3 o'clock in the morning runs or getting up early for work or whatever you're doing. We forget all that. In that moment of suffering, I remind myself, I only have 50 more miles. I put in 6 months of training. So what I do, my self-talk is basically going back down memory lane of all those fucked up days. I ran in the fucking rain or I had to fucking study real late at night and I didn't want to do it, but I did it to get here.
Yeah. That's the hook.
That is the hook.
That's the hook.
I wanted to get here.
Yeah.
Now you're here and now you want to fucking quit?
Yeah.
So you gotta remind yourself, but this thing about it, if you haven't put in any hard work to reflect on, you're fucked. People want to be all positive, all this positive talk, it doesn't work if it's a lie. Like, if you didn't study for your big exam and you go into it saying, I'm gonna pass it, no, you're not. You're gonna fucking fail it. That self-talk is not gonna work. Self-talk without real work is just a lie. So my self-talk is me reminiscing back on the struggle to get to this moment. And that tells me we're not quitting today. Not today. So basically you have to put yourself in the moment 1,000,000 times while I'm sitting here. First of all, it takes total quietness. We live in a world that's so busy and so active and moving so fast. Right now, I am sitting with Tom Ferry. My mind is sitting with Tom Ferry. It's not talking to Tom Ferry while thinking about, my God, I gotta order some more books, I'm sold out of here, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. That's the first thing about visualization. You must make sure to silence out all the fucking bullshit of life, which is very hard to do.
It is very hard.
Because your visual picture must be clear as shit. It has to be clear. It can't be like kind of in and out, like a fuzzy TV. You gotta see it. It has to become real. You gotta take a snapshot of it 1,000,000 times, put in the bank. That snapshot of me was getting that 4,021 pull-up knocked out, because the record was 4,020. I visualized that over and over and over again. So I visualized success. But then I went through, that's the fun part. I have to do 4,020 pull-ups to get to that 4,021 pull-up. I know now, because it took me 3 chances
Yep.
to get it. All those failures, they were great for me to examine where I was fucking up at along the way. So I take all that and I put in the bank as far as visualization. Okay, when I get to 2,500 pull-ups, my hands start to rip. Okay, I get ready for that. So I started visualizing, how am I gonna handle the pain? Okay, then you start visualizing, okay, my nutrition was off. You start visualizing all these things because you have to mimic it 1,000,000 times, but I can't mimic 4,020 pull-ups by doing it.
But you can see all the milestones where you failed.
That's right.
And see yourself going beyond it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that was my big thing about, I had to walk in, get the chalk, I had to see everything over and over and over again. And when I realized I had to keep that visual, that picture in my head for 17 hours. It took me 17 hours to break that record.
Yeah.
So for 17 hours, while I used to be loud everywhere I went, I put these headphones in.
Yep.
And I never listened to music, but I listened to one song, Going the Distance, you know, for 17 hours. It's 2 minutes and 13 seconds.
Yeah.
For 17 hours, I had that in.
That's a lot of Rocky.
A lot of Rocky. And I just went here.
Yeah.
And so I was able to visualize every rep.
Yeah.
So I visualized my hand placement, making sure that felt right before I got going. I didn't ignore all the little pains. My hands got sweaty. Okay, that means I was aware of everything. That means my hand's about to rip. It's getting sweaty. Wipe it off. Be aware. Everything. I was totally in the moment because of how I visualized everything.
What do you think is the biggest stumbling block that most people face with this kind of journey?
Honestly, is they have the woe is me mentality. It's too hard. Life isn't fair. These things in life are not easy for me. You look to your left and you look to your right and you start to judge yourself off other people. Like if you're a female, well, she's skinny and she doesn't work out as hard as I do. And everything starts to corrupt your mind. You start to look around too much at other people and what they're doing, and that starts to corrupt your own dialogue. We are judging ourselves against too many fucking people. You have to judge yourself against yourself. And that's the one thing I started learning, man. This isn't a race against me and Rich Roll. This is a race against David Goggins and David Goggins alone. And once you can silence all that bullshit, all the outside interference and things that are attracting your mind to everything, you can then start to grow and realizing I'm stressed out for no reason. This is my own little race. This is my own timeline. It was important for me to finally realize, stop being all these fake people I used to be, stop being afraid. There was no growth until I cut myself down to nothing, to the person I really was, the real human being. And once I found out who I really was, that's when I started growing. I was trying to build on top of a lied, fucked up foundation. You can't build a house on a fucked up foundation. So I had to get down to the actual mineral soil of who I was, and that's when you can start real growth.
And what is the role that suffering plays in that, or the willingness to suffer?
It starts to peel all those layers away, all those artificial layers away. If you're willing to suffer and go back in the grind, that internal dialogue you have with yourself when you're in misery and you're uncomfortable, it's a real, scary, unfiltered, no lying dialogue between you and yourself. And people know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about when you're in a bad spot in life and your mind is saying all kind of shit. That's who you really are. That's the real you. No Rocky Balboa moments going on up there. You're like, hey, you know, it's round 14. Let's come on. We got this. No, it's like, fuck this. I'm out of here, man. This is crazy. That's where the growth happens. When you're able to stay in that moment and talk yourself back into the suck of wherever you're going through, and you start stripping those layers away. But as you're stripping those layers away, you're building calluses over top of shit in your mind. That's where the growth starts to happen, is when you have to force yourself to stay in it. You can't leave it. I don't think enough about people that have wronged me, or situations that have wronged me. Because once you've come to a place where you are really happy with who you are in life, no one fucks with you anymore. Even though they're fucking with you,
it doesn't fuck with you.
It doesn't fuck with you. You know, like all these, I used to be so hurt by everything in the military, and if someone did something or said something, like, man, I have overcome so much shit. There's not, I'm just in a really good headspace right now. My headspace, I own it. A lot of people own other people's headspace. I own my own shit now.
What do you mean own other? Like they're just all caught up in what other people think about them and running all these narratives in their mind.
That's right.
About...
They're more caught up in what other people think about them than how you feel about your own personal self. So a lot of people have their brain and their mind on rent to a whole bunch of motherfuckers in the world. I am paying rent on my own shit. I finally put a down payment on it, and I'm making payments every daggone day on my own fucking brain. So you don't fucking control that shit anymore, man. I got it.
So walk me through a day in the life. What's it look like right now?
Well,
I mean, it's got to be crazy.
Every morning I get up, I still get my run in every morning.
How do you structure the training? The
training is basically structured off of my schedule. So look at my schedule, and I say, okay, Jennifer, what do we have today? We have this at 7 o'clock in the morning. Roger that. That means I got to be up by 4 o'clock in the morning to run. That's how it works. That's how all my shit works. So she lays out the schedule of events.
2 hours. You just set it 2 hours earlier or whatever.
She says it could take an hour to get to Rich Rolls. Let's say we were at 7 o'clock today in the morning. It takes an hour to get to Rich Rolls with no traffic. Okay, let's block in an hour 15 for Rich Roll. Okay, we got that. The morning time, I'm gonna run 7 miles this morning. I need 52:30 for that. Roger that. Put in shit, shower, shave. Add that in. So the schedule dictates, but I have all that time.
Just push it back, right? So if that means getting up at 1:30.
Trust me.
Roger that.
I've done that several times.
Yeah.
Several.
How much sleep
times.
do you usually get?
I like getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Nowadays I can do that. But there's times where the schedule says, hey man, you're getting 3 hours. And if that's the case,
right.
Merry Christmas. But guess what? Right now, it's easy to be happy. It's easy to smile. Those are the good times. The good times. Those times don't need to be trained. You know, I had to train myself for good times. Those times, for most people, don't need to be trained. What I'm trying to give you all is the misery of sometimes we go through in life. Those are the times we don't want to fucking talk about. We want to skip forward to peace. Let's skip all this pain and suffering and misery of real life. Let's cover it over, nice big blanket, and let's find peace. No. Sorry. It's not possible. Gotta go into that fucking hellhole of life that you have that fucked you up and fix it. And that's what I'm here to do.
You got to go to war with yourself before there's peace.
That's what I say in the book.
That's what you say in the book.
You must go to war with yourself before you find peace. So I'm trying to give you tools on how to do that. And I'm not considering smile and be happy about it. It's a hard journey. It's a real journey. It was so crazy. That's why I look at motivation. Motivation is just a spark, but those little sparks, if somebody comes by real quick with some water, that fire's down, it's out. But if you come by and that little fire, no one touches it, and that little fire, which is motivation, which is kindling, and that kindling grows off to, like they call it, 1 hour fuels, 2 hour fuels, 10 hour fuels, 10,000 hour fuels. You want that thing to boil over and catch a nice big log. It's gonna burn a long time. And that big log starts catching everything on fire. This is your soul. So motivation a lot of times can be fucking just put some water on it, puts it out. That motivation needs to turn into drive, passion, obsession to what you want to become. And once you become obsession or driven, it's a fucking inferno. So now you got to call in tons of firefighters and call in for help for here, calling for help from there. And they're not putting that shit out. Only thing that can take that thing out, it's got to burn itself out.
But obsession is self-generated. You can't 100%. Will another person to become obsessed.
Not at all.
That has to, be something that is cultivated deep inside yourself.
Deep
and most people never experience what it's like to be obsessed. And I think we put a negative label. Label on obsession. Oh,
hell yeah,
he's obsessed.
No, to me, it's a daggone, it's a compliment. It's a compliment, man, to be. And a lot of times it can fuck you up. It can ruin your life. You can be obsessed, but I'll tell you one thing. If you want to be great, you want to be the baddest motherfucker ever at what you do, you could be misunderstood by everybody because you're going to be so fucking obsessed and so driven to get there. That's what it takes.
That's the truth.
It takes every second of your fucking life. Anybody says balance? Yeah, balance is important for a lot of fucking people. It is. But if you want to fucking go to that edge where people do not like you, don't understand you, question everything you fucking do, you've arrived. When you are misunderstood to the point where fucking people think you're psycho and you're nuts and you're this and that, why are you in the fucking gym at 1 o'clock in the fucking morning? You just got to doing an op for fucking 13, 14 hours after Ranger School, man, at the gym. What is wrong? You will never understand what is wrong with me. And that's why I'm so fucking glad you don't, because I'm in the right fucking spot. When people don't understand you anymore, you're in that spot of obsession and drive where people are like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? I don't want to talk to you, man, because you're not going to get it. It's all about mindset.
Yeah.
That's it, man. You have to change the dialogue within your head. And one thing I guarantee you, there's some stat out there about January 1. All that kindling that you started, all that motivation, usually burn out by about 10 to 12 days later. So let's see how far you can take that shit. Let's see if you can get a fucking
That is a
inferno
challenge
going.
from Goggins to you.
Usually it's 10 to 12 days, man. People always come to me, man, hey, I want a workout program. I no longer give them anymore because you're going to waste my fucking time. Because I know most people out there, once that fucking one alarm clock goes off, the wrong time of the day, I'm not going to the gym.
Right. Or they get the workout program, but then they're like, hey, they hit you up again. What kind of watch do I need to get?
That's right.
What kind of shoes?
That's
the questions
right.
just keep coming.
Keep coming,
Every
man.
day goes by without anything going on.
Keep coming. Go to the store, buy a pair of shoes, and Merry Christmas. Have fun with that shit. Call me after you lose some fucking weight running your ass in the dirt, and then we'll work on some other shit.
Right on.
Get your base on. A lot of people, what they do is they have these finish lines. And I have a saying that says, I don't stop when I'm tired, I stop when I'm done. So when I was younger, I didn't have any goals. And it's not really so much about goals, it's just a fucking to-do list.
Yeah.
A to-do list. And as a human being, if you don't have a to-do list, you're gonna sit back and just fade away. It's like a lot of people who are in the military, who are in business, who are whatever, they say, hey, I'm gonna do 20 years and I'm gonna retire. Okay, what's next? So I have a what's next list. So then I never sit idle. I never sit idle. There's never one time in my life where I'm sitting back with free time and like just enjoying the sun. I made it, I've arrived. No, I've never arrived. And a lot of people say, are you happy? Because I'm so driven that it almost makes people who are weaker in the mind think, my God, you must not be happy. That's a weaker person. If I get these questions, I know I'm exactly where I need to be. I'm making you feel a certain way. I'm the hardest working guy that doesn't talk about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So basically, I don't take any days off as far as working out. What I realized growing up is you have to build your armor.
Yeah.
Your armor. Your first thing in the morning time is you have to build your confidence. And every day you're constantly gaining and losing confidence. You're never staying the same. So how you build your confidence is if you like what you see in that mirror, that's how you start your day off. If you wake up and you look fat, you look out of shape, you're not, you don't feel good, which is, or you don't feel good inside. So my whole big thing is get up and work out. Shed some calories. Get the adrenals going. Get the mind going. Get all that going. Every day I run. Every day I work out. And every day I stretch. So I spend anywhere from 3 to 5 hours a day working out. I'm constantly thinking about my life.
Yeah.
Raw things about my life because I want to share these things with people. I'm constantly, and see, I don't post a lot. I don't post, it's like most people post just to post. So my daily routine is like, I don't get up and start just posting stuff 3 and 4 times a day.
Yeah.
I post when something is meaningful because I want people to get something out of it. I don't want to just be on social media and say, hey, I'm posting, let me get more followers, tag someone, hashtag this bullshit, hashtag that bullshit. No, this is a message about you. So every day I'm running, every day I'm working, I'm thinking about, do I have anything that I can share with people today that's powerful? And I'm constantly writing books. So I have 1 book out right now. I have my 2nd book coming out, but I'm not gonna have it coming out anytime soon because I want it to be perfect.
Yeah.
So my whole thing about life is putting all your energy in one thing. So my routines are always about synergy, focus, hyper-focused. It's always about mind because I know once your mind gets away from you, you've lost. I go out to run, I get all my ideas. All my ideas come from when the blood pressure and the intensity is high.
Yeah.
Because that puts me back in the dungeon.
Yeah.
I remember when I was 300 pounds, my most inspirational time is when I was 300 pounds and I was trying to lose weight and I was having all these self-talks, trying to find strength all over my brain. How the fuck am I gonna do this? How the fuck?
Yeah.
So you start to have these different mantras, like almost every 3 or 4 seconds, a different mantra comes up. And just there's a lot of power in that from being that underdog mentality.
Yeah.
And whenever I go out to work out, it's not like I'm David Goggins now, 44, I've achieved a lot. Every time I go out to work out, I'm that 300-pound guy.
Got it.
Spraying for fucking cockroaches, nothing. Because if you think that way, you can only achieve the best.
Yeah.
If you've arrived and you go out there, I don't need to be out here doing this. So when I tell people, hey, stop listening to music for a little bit, put your fucking phone down, put the computer down, really focus. The most powerful weapon is your brain. It relates to them. They're like, oh man, yeah. We weren't raised on this shit. Mm-hmm. They can kind of go back in the dungeon, but these millennials grew up with all this technology.
Yeah.
And all this noise. It's so fucking noisy out here that they can't hear themselves think.
Yeah.
So the people who really get the most bang out of my message, even though millennials follow me the most, are people who are from 30s to 50s. Because they're like, you know what, man? Yeah, I fucking get that.
Yeah.
I remember back when I was a better human being before I started being dependent on my phone and dependent on this and dependent on that. And literally, you can't even have a conversation with somebody nowadays because their minds are so out of it.
Or they're checking the Instagram.
Yeah, man. So they're like looking at you and their phone and they're here, and then as you're having a serious conversation, an enlightening conversation, they then come out of nowhere and say, hey, did you hear about Trump? You're like, what the fuck is your problem, man? You can't hold a fucking attention span for longer than 15 seconds. Yeah. That's why you're not successful. Yeah. It takes a lot longer than 15 seconds to be focused on becoming rich, fucking becoming a better person, becoming smarter, becoming more athletic, losing weight. It takes time. Your mind needs to be focused on that fucking task. I don't really blame them. That's the world that they grew up in. Yeah. So that's what they're seeing. Yeah. They're seeing a lot of kids who are like 25, 26, 27, 28 who are making these big dollar numbers, man, from like inventing something or coming up with some new fucking app or whatever, man, making a lot of money. Yeah. So they want to have the opportunity. Yeah. But they don't realize only 1%, less than 1% are going to have the opportunity. Yeah. You got to go back to old school, which is there's no fucking secret. Yeah. It's just hard fucking work. Yeah. Yeah. And I hate to say it, man. Everybody goes, what is your secret, man? What's your secret about business? What's your secret about this? What's your secret about that? You don't want the fucking answer. The answer is, you see these fucking hands?
Hard work.
Hard fucking work, man. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not going to voodoo some shit. I'm not a magician. It's not magic. It's literally, you're going to have to wake up. Yeah. And you're going to have to sit there and say, fuck, today's going to suck. And then when that day is over, you're going to wake up again and say, fuck. Yeah. The next day is going to suck. Yeah. And that's going to be your life. Yeah. Unless you're this guy who sits back and says, oh, I have this great idea. and it happens to work.
Yeah.
And you could be some lazy fat ass that sits back and makes millions of dollars off of some idea.
Yeah.
But the majority of it, because wake up every day, punch that mental time clock and say, this is gonna suck.
Yeah. I think the combination of hard work with technology is gonna be like the
game changer.
Yeah.
Game changer.
But the problem is that most of them are they just want to do the technology part, but not the hard work.
That's the fun part. You were bullied.
Yeah.
Do you remember how many nights you spent by yourself in your fucking head thinking about what kind of piece of shit you were?
Yeah.
And how miserable that fucking was?
Yeah.
That's exactly my drive. I know that there's not just me and you. There's millions and millions, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
With all this fucking pressure, man. You can now bully a motherfucker on your phone. Mm-hmm. You know, back in our day it was face to face. You can do everything over your phone. The pressures of trying to keep up with everything is at an all-time high. And our mindsets are at an all-time low. We are the weakest we've been mentally ever since the beginning of time. And it's even harder. So it's harder with a weaker mind. So all I want to do, my whole drive is about, I have a really good way of visualizing people suffering. Because a lot of people do it. We have two sides of us. We have one side that is that happy-go-lucky side, that nothing's wrong and everything is good. But we have that side at home when no one's around that's depressed and miserable and we're not good enough. Yeah. And whatever happened to you is real. So that's my drive. I want to make sure that I give people as much power as I can. So when they get up every fucking morning, they know that, hey, I have the ability to not only survive in this world, but thrive in this world just by the mere fact of hearing about my story.
Yeah.
So if I can help out people that way and make you a better human being, that's all it's about, period. Because I don't want anybody suffering the way I suffer.